Everybody pretty much has signed the petition where they did not want the rezoning of this neighborhood.
Families in a South Fargo neighborhood are outraged after the Planning Commission said yes to a zoning change, a move they petitioned against.
Dabbert Custom Homes asked for the change, impacting several lots along 47th Avenue South in Timber Creek and allowing multi-family homes. Valley News Team's Katie Opperly talked with some of the neighbors who are impacted.
People living along 34th Street South say the Planning Commission is making a big mistake favoring zoning changes in their neighborhood.
With like the bigger apartments and townhouses that are combined and duplexes that are kind of taken over, I mean, really, they're overpriced and you never know who your neighbors are going to be, and they're constantly changing. So I think overall, if we kept single family homes, it'd probably be much happier.
Dabbert Custom Homes requested the zoning change with duplexes in mind. And although the plan is not set in stone, they are excited to get this far. Residents are not.
I just believe kind of with the additional lots they've already added, it's kind of created some congestion already and heavy traffic, as well as snow removal in the winter I see being a problem.
Several said they are concerned that the addition of duplexes will take away the family feel and security they want in their neighborhood.
We have an apartment complex behind us, so now you're putting property which is going to be a rental property in front of us, so you're kind of like destroying the neighborhood where people live permanently.
Neighbors say they hope the company and the city take their request into consideration so the people living in this area don't suffer the repercussions. The full city commission will have the final say. In Fargo, Katie Opperly, Valley News Live.
The Timber Creek area is experiencing several changes right now. The construction of new roads began today in the open lots next to the new Cashwise off of 52nd Avenue, just down the street from these neighbors. Crews on site said various retail and commercial type buildings are being considered for this area.
The investigation into the disappearance and death of Brenda Cartas continues. She went missing last July. Her remains were found near the river in South Fargo over a year later. Authorities have described the case as suspicious, and their investigation is far from over. A recent search warrant was approved for phone call records from a Fargo convenience store. Cartas was staying at Center Inc. in Fargo prior to her disappearance, and on July 12th, she signed herself out and stated she was going to the Red Carpet gas station. The search warrant is asking for all incoming and outgoing phone calls at the Red Carpet on the day Cartas disappeared.
West Fargo police are asking for your help identifying these people on your screen right now. They say they're people of interest in an ongoing case. If you have any information about them, call the West Fargo Police tip line. That phone number, 433-5333.
A warning tonight about a scammer who's claiming to be a Grand Forks County deputy. Now, the caller claims that you have an active arrest warrant out for yourself, and they say you can clear the warrant if you pay a bond amount over the phone. The caller demands various forms of payment, including credit cards, prepaid cash cards, gift cards, or by using various types of money transfer services. Now, if you get a call like this, hang up and call the Grand Forks County Sheriff's Department.
The wait continues for an area man who forked over $250 for some cornhole boards he says he never received. Michael Schmaltz bought 2 cornhole boards he found for sale on a Facebook page. He was told he would get them by Father's Day. Fast forward nearly 4 months later, and he says he still doesn't have them. We contacted the man he bought them from last week. He told us the delay was because of an ex-girlfriend and that the boards would be done on Sunday. As of today, Schmaltz says he still doesn't have the boards, and he tells us if he doesn't get them by Friday, he's going to police. Once again, we'll be checking in to see if he gets the boards on Friday.
Fargo's Newman Outdoor Field is in need of repair and that won't happen until at least springtime. For 25 years, the city of Fargo, the Red Hawks, and NDSU have been partnering in the operation of the stadium, but the upkeep is the city's responsibility. That includes a new roof, which is needed. The city sent out bids before the summer. Only 2 replied. Both bids were nearly $100,000 over the budget. With waiting for repairs through the winter, there's concern that heavy snow will increase the risk of the existing roof collapsing.
We wanted it done this fall. Unfortunately, the bids came in quite a bit higher than we had estimated, and so we elected to reject the bids.
So we want to make sure that we're not getting any leaking before we're kind of expanding and putting a lot more money into it.
The city also says it's hoping for lower bids so work can get going in the spring. But if the bids are still high, they'll start cutting some of the other renovation projects.
Fargo police have not had a difficult time netting distracted drivers. In fact, during the month of September, they busted dozens of people who couldn't put their phone or other distractions away. It was part of a grant through the North Dakota DOT. During this time period, officers issued 99 citations, including 48 for distracted driving and 20 warnings.
Navy radio man, second class Floyd Wells, is finally home. The Cavalier, North Dakota native was killed almost 78 years ago in the attack on Pearl Harbor. Today, his nieces and nephews gathered at the Veterans Cemetery to lay him to rest.
Floyd has peace, and his mother and father and his family that are no longer with us. I feel that they have peace. I really feel that. So I go away with that, with peace in my heart and thankfulness.
Some say this offers closure so families know their loved ones aren't at an unknown grave.
And the U.S. military has an ongoing project to identify all service members missing or killed in action so that they too can be buried with their name.
It's to fulfill their promise to service members that they're never forgotten. John Salling met with the group that makes it possible.
When Pearl Harbor was bombed on December 7, 1941, many sailors who were killed could not be identified.
At the number of people who went out and just never came back, and no one knows what happened to them, and to be able to find out what happened and tell their story, that's the thing, and that's for everybody.
Using DNA technology, sailors and soldiers from every war finally have a chance to be identified and returned home through the work of the Defense POW MIA Accounting Agency.
We have a sacred obligation and a moral imperative to provide accounting of all unknown service members from World War II to present day, and to inform the families of that accounting.
Floyd is accounted for.
One of their cases was radio man second class Floyd A. Wells, now buried at the North Dakota Veterans Cemetery with full honors.
It's a painstaking business. One at a time, they work through these, and now with the technology, they can actually figure out who they are, which is really, really wonderful. And to bring back this guy from Cavalier, pretty wonderful.
The agency is working to identify at least 200 service members every year to help families find their loved ones.
More than 81,000 service members are still missing, with more than 41,000 presumed lost at sea.
Valley News Live 10 at 10 continues with no wait weather.
Cool, gray, and windy weather continues here in the northern plains. It extends from our area in the Dakotas all the way through the Pacific Northwest. Look at Billings at 33 degrees. Cold enough for flakes, and indeed some flew today in portions of western North Dakota and the mountains of Montana, as well as eastern portions of Montana. Out to the east, it's a little milder in the Twin Cities, but they too are on the cool side of the weather pattern. Here is a live look from our friends over at Luther Family Ford. You're peering off to the east, and as a matter of fact, it's a little breezy out there from time to time. We see the trees and the cameras shaking a bit in the winds that are at 13 miles per hour. Out of the north, your skies are cloudy. It's 42 degrees on the thermometer, but yes, indeed, it does feel colder than that. Can you believe we're talking about wind chill? Yeah, 35 is what it feels like on exposed skin. It's chilly out there. The coolest air shows up on our temperature contours in the bluish shades here. That's where we have some 30s. Southwest North Dakota, where there is a winter weather advisory tonight for 1 to 3 inches of flaky weather. Eastern North Dakota, low 40s, and that's the same case for most of western Minnesota. 45, though, this hour in Alexandria. We're kind of between two weather-making systems, one exiting eastern Minnesota and a few sprinkles starting to show up in the Devil's Lake Basin, with rain out in the western Dakotas and eastern Montana. For our area from Devil's Lake south through New Rockford and Carrington, the radar is picking up a little bit of activity that could be wetting the windshields out there in the form of raindrops. And then as we sneak out to the west, a little bit more organized and heavier rain showers down north of Lemon, South Dakota, not far from the Hettinger area, south of Dickinson. And in eastern Montana, look at this. This is the Yellowstone River Valley here, and that is snow being picked up. in that cooler air in Montana. Will we see snow? Some will. But here's a look at the latest hour-by-hour forecast. Tonight, the north wind continues 10 to 20 miles per hour. Temperatures continue to fall, and if we get any clearing, it's going to only be brief. And as we cool down into the upper 30s in most locations, that's close enough to the dew point where I think we'll see some low clouds and fog to start your Wednesday. Most of us stay dry, minus an isolated sprinkle. And yes, those north winds will keep trucking in the early part of the day at around 10 to 15 miles per hour. Through midday, we stay fairly dry. The first half of the day on the quiet side of things, the winds become just a bit more easterly. Then in the afternoon, rain expands from the western and central Dakotas here into the valley. And in fact, the southern valley from Fargo and the I-94 corridor and point south could see moderate rain once again on our Wednesday afternoon and evening. Notice out to the west, a couple of blue blips here on our future radar. That's right, a chance for some flakes in our western counties. So Wednesday night into Thursday morning, I say anywhere from around the James River Valley in the Devil's Lake Basin through the Highway 2 corridor and points north, a chance for some flakes mixing in at the very least as we go through the overnight hours. Here is a peek at your Fargo morning forecast. Tomorrow, expect 38 to start your day, fog and clouds, more of a northeast wind, 10 to 15 miles per hour, and 40s once again, but upper 40s in Fargo, mid 40s for Grand Forks and northwest Minnesota, as well as Lakes Country. Low 40s and maybe even some upper 30s in the Devil's Lake Basin where nighttime flakes will be a possibility. Here's a look at the trajectory of that, with the coolest of the air keeping most of the snow chances on Thursday very early in the morning north of Highway 2. Oh dear, that is a wet cornfield. Thank you, Rand, for your photo. The planning forecast shows cool and wet weather Thursday. And then again on Friday, we see temperatures warm up a pinch, but it looks windy for tailgaters. On Saturday, cool, windy, and a good chance of rain. Mid-60s by early next week, though.
All right, thanks, Hutch.
You bet.
Later on Valley News Live at 10, President Trump steps up his attacks on the impeachment inquiry, now calling it a government takeover.